A carbon tax revolt is brewing across Canada, and you love to see it. From coast to coast, Canadians are now standing up against Trudeau's high-taxing, out-of-touch ways, and politicians are starting to follow suit. Now, Trudeau thought he had a foolproof plan to reverse collapsing poll numbers from the Liberals in Atlantic Canada. He tried to buy off his MPs in the region by removing the carbon tax from furnace oil for 3 years. In Atlantic Canada, up to 40% of households stay warm during the winter months with furnace oil. But the vast majority of Canadians, 97%, use other forms of home heating, which means that Trudeau is probably leaving you out in the cold this winter. Now, the move was nakedly political. It was also rank regional favoritism, and now it's blowing up in Trudeau's face. Shortly after Trudeau rolled out his divide and conquer scheme, Conservative leader Pierre Poilievre tabled a motion in the House of Commons to take the carbon tax off of everyone's home heating bills. Now, if you use natural gas to stay warm during the winter, the carbon tax on natural gas will cost you about $300 this year. Over the next 3 years, the carbon tax will cost the average family using natural gas about $1,100 as Trudeau cranks up his carbon tax year after year after year. Now, that motion put the NDP between a rock and a hard place. They had a choice to make. Either stand up for the working class Canadian families they claim to represent, or vote in lockstep with the Liberals. Thankfully, the Dippers found their spine and decided to vote in favor of removing the carbon tax off of everyone's home heating bills. Now, that meant that the Liberals had to seek out a new coalition partner, a partner they found in the Bloc. The Liberals joined forces with the Bloc to vote down the motion. They voted for Trudeau and against you. But that fight is far from over. Far from over. It's just beginning. In Saskatchewan, Premier Scott Moe said he would stop collecting the carbon tax off all home heating fuels beginning in the new year. And Moe isn't the only premier in the fight. That's because opposition to the carbon tax is now nonpartisan. In Manitoba, NDP Premier Wab Kinew is calling on the feds to extend the carbon tax relief for everyone. In British Columbia, ND Premier David Eby is demanding the same. In Alberta, Premier Danielle Smith has come out swinging against Trudeau's favoritism. Even the person who brought the carbon tax to Alberta, NDP leader Rachel Notley, now says Trudeau's approach is totally unacceptable. It would appear the New Democrats across the country have remembered what their late former leader Jack Layton had to say about the matter in 2008. I'm going to read it for you here, folks. Quote, "Those advocating a carbon tax suggest that by making the cost of certain things more expensive, people will make different choices. But Canada is a cold place, and heating your home really isn't a choice. We shouldn't punish people, and that's what a carbon tax does." Well said. Even in Atlantic Canada, the very region Trudeau was hoping to buy off his MPs in, the Liberal Premier of Newfoundland and Labrador, Andrew Furey, called the carve-out insulting. It's not hard to understand why politicians of every political persuasion are now standing up to Trudeau. The carbon tax and its support is in freefall. Polling from Leger, commissioned by the Canadian Taxpayers Federation, shows that most Canadians in every region of the country want the feds to remove the carbon tax from everyone's home heating bills. In BC, another poll commissioned by the Canadian Taxpayers Federation shows that twice as many people oppose the carbon tax as support it. Over the last 6 months, support for the carbon tax in BC has plummeted by 28 percentage points. Polling from Abacus data shows that 72% of Canadians want the carbon tax removed from everyone's home heating bill. Now, it wasn't long ago that the leading politicians, academics, and even journalists out there were united in declaring the fight against the carbon tax as over. They said the carbon tax was here to stay. Only one problem. The people didn't get the message. The people are sick and tired of the carbon tax. The people want the carbon tax gone.